Hi, stats. This is 1-9 on page 20. So 1-9 on page 20 of your notes. So we're going to be, excuse me, we're going to talk about box plots. Sometimes they call these box and whisker. Okay, so these are a way of looking at data. And so let me draw one real quick. So if you have a line here, and this line could be start at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Could go on forever, but I've just had it bounded somehow. So we're gonna take a look at a box and whisker. So let's say we had something that looked like this. Maybe take that out to that. Okay. So I know that this value is 20 just by looking at our graph. This value is 40, this value is 50, this is 70, and let's call this 80. I know we don't have a label down here, but let's call it 80. When we look at our data, a few things that take place. So right here, this middle thing is going to be called Q2, which we've been calling the median. If I go to the right of the median, I get to Q3, and then I will call this last one the upper extreme. Now, there are times that you might have a dot that's outside of that. That's going to be an outlier. We'll talk about that a little bit later. This is going to be called Q1. Okay. Sometimes they call Q3 the upper quartile, but we'll just mainly refer to it as Q3. Q1 we'll call the lower quartile. And then the 20 is going to be the lower extreme. Now, again, you could have a dot outside to the far left of the lower extreme or the far right of the upper extreme. And those become something called an outlier or an extreme outlier. Okay, so when we come across our information, a few things to know. Between the lower extreme to Q1 is going to represent 25% of all of the data from a list. From Q1 to Q2 represents 25%. From Q2 to Q3 is another 25%. And then from Q3 to the outside is going to be the last 25%. So if you add it all up, it's 100% of your data. So this is just when you've plotted your data together. Let's see, anything, just reading real quick. Okay, all of these are called quartiles. So from 20 to 40 is a quartile, from 40 to 50 is a quartile, from 50 to 70 is a quartile, from 70 to 80 is a quartile, as far as our example goes. Other things that take place in here is you have to realize that in between Q3 and Q1 deals with 50% of the data, because if you go 25% plus 25%, if you went from the lower extreme all the way to Q3, that'd be 75%. And so you're just basically adding all of these up. A lot of times they will give you something called the 5-number summary. In the 5-number summary, they might have something like this. You have 4, 8, 16, 20, and 23. So what that means is this is your median. This is, which is Q2. This is Q3. This is our upper extreme. This is Q1, and this is our lower extreme. And if you wanted to make a box plot based on this, you'd say, well, it goes from 4. Oops, my thing's goofing up. This is good. So when they give you that 5-number summary, that summary itself, you can make your box and whiskers, okay, as we had labeled before. All right, so now it says if we wanted to determine our, this is on page 21, if we wanted to determine our shape, the box and whiskers looks all like all kinds of things. So if I had something that looked like this, because this is bigger than the other box, that means that the mean is being pulled this way, which means it would be skew right. If I had something look like this, where that rectangular box is larger, so this is bigger, that means my mean is pulling this way, which is going to be skew left. If you had a box and whiskers where these middle rectangles are the same, so these are the same size, then this is going to be called a normal distribution. Okay, so looking at page 21. So your graphing calculator can indeed make this. Okay, we're going to do it on Desmos. Now, the problem is Desmos, you can't enter the 5-number summary. So the 5-number summary won't work on Desmos. So you just have to draw it out. So again, if I had, let's say my data was 2, 7, 10, 16, and 30, then this is going to be 2. You'd have 7 here. You'd have 10 here. You'd have 16 over here. And let's draw it a little bit longer. And then you might have 30 over here. It's goofing up on me again. So 30's finding down there. So when you go through it, you can kind of label the data. Notice I made the boxes the data I have on this 5-number summary, because the box from 7 to 10 is only 3, from 10 to 16 is 6, so it's going to be skew right in this situation. So let's take a look at what our assignment will be. Looks like our assignment is going to be sorry, I had to connect my keyboard. It's going to be page 113 and 114. And do what you can on it. Let me know if you have any help. Sometimes, on page 114, sometimes we make the box and whiskers go vertical, which is totally fine as well. And that way you could represent, so you'll see on there. If I wanted to do this on Desmos though, let's say I had data that I was going to plug in. So L equals, parentheses, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say we had 12, 12, 14, 15, 15, 16, 18, 19, 22, 25, 27, 29. If I wanted to do this and I wanted to see what the box plot looks like, let's see on beginning Desmos, you go to functions and we should be able to find a box plot. Let's see, click box plot of L, and we're just going to say exclude outliers, and then we hit the plus button, and there's our information. So if you came to this, you could easily zoom in and say, oh, okay, my minimum's 12. It looks like my Q1 right here is 14.5. My median, or Q2, is at 17. My Q3 is at 23.5. And then my max is going to be at 29. Now, if you click this with it, notice there's no data out there, but let me force an outlier to jump in here. So let's maybe make this 60. So if I go hit this dot and I hit exclude outliers, notice this dot out here. If you don't hit this, it makes it just a really long tail. But you want to make sure you have the exclude outliers on, because if you get this one dot out here, or sometimes it might be multiple dots way out here, those are something called outliers. Those are like really obscure pieces of data, so you have to be aware of those from time to time. Have a great day, my friends, and you know what the assignment is.